freedom,
family,
world unity,
all these things and more will be discussed on this podcast.
real stories, real people, real debates. On this podcast, we like to express our freedoms and talk about anything and everything goes.
Like freedom, family is important to us, and anybody that is listening, watching, or coming on the show as a guest star are all considered part of the greatest family to ever bless the solar system, the human race. No matter who you are, where you come from, you will always have a voice here on this podcast.
We like to flex our First Amendment, where all speeches and opinions are accepted for the right of freedom of speech. We have a saying we like to live by. Live life with eyes wide open. Being open-minded leads to true understanding of the world as it really is. Please, come, join us, and enjoy this experience as we embark on this journey of truth as we dismantle the subjective truth. I'm your host, Nick.
And I'm your co-host, Victoria.
And you're experiencing high consciousness.
Disclaimer.
Hi, y'all.
And welcome back to another episode of
High Consciousness. I'm your host, Nick.
And I'm your co-host, Victoria.
And we are High Consciousness.
Welcome back, everybody. Today is Monday, so you know what that means. Constitution. Silence Dogood letters 11 through 14 today, or maybe just 11 through 13. We don't know.
Because they're real lengthy and we're real jilly at the end of the letters. There's only 14 letters, so that I might throw in that, because I'm the one reading today, so I might throw in that last letter. Just depends on where we're at in time. So with that, we're going to do a little recap, and since Tori read the last Dogood letters, let's have her recap the last letters.
So the last letters, we were talking about how pride destroys you, and that pride often come before destruction, and destruction come before the fall. So if you are prideful, you destroy yourself, and in turn of destroying yourself, you fall. But then it also went over corruption as well, and how even the clergymen and stuff are, very corrupt, and the worst ones of them all are a clergyman that goes into politics, or a politician that goes into the clergy, because then they could use their political stances as well as their religious stances together in order to control people or get them to, go into something that is against, God's will or morality in general. And then in the other letter, which was number 10, because we only had time for 2 last week, in Silence Dogood letter number 10, we learned that Silence Dogood, or Benjamin Franklin, was coming up with some kind of life insurance policy for women back in those days, because, like we have gone over, the women didn't really have the right to work, they didn't have the right to go to education, they just kind of had the right to cook, clean, be in the home, be the mom of the kids, raise the kids, and take care of the husband. But there was no real way for the woman to pay for the home, and so that was like the real downfall.
For anything to happen to the man, let's clarify.
If anything ever happened to the man, there's no way for the woman to keep up the home, at least with the income and everything else, because women were not allowed to work. Women were not allowed to go to university. So if you didn't have education, then you weren't getting a job anyway. So without education nor a job for money, there was no way for women to pay for their homes and upkeep the home. So them, as the adult woman in the home, would have to send out their male child at 10, 12, or younger, and to go out and work for the home because their father died, and so now they're the man of the house. They have to go out and do all the work and bring home the bacon, because mom's got to take care of the house and your other siblings. So they came up with life insurance policies where if the man died...
Benjamin Franklin, a.k.a. Silence Dogood, came up with the health insurance plan.
Yes, he did. Where it had all kinds of structure built into it, to where the woman would have to present a certain certificate, proving the death of the husband, and how much that would be as a payment that she needed in order to upkeep the home every month. And
500 euros.
That would be like anywhere between 500 euros to maybe a little more than that, just depending. And there was another thing with the structure base.
Family. It was like a wives' pool, like a widow's pool, where the widows would throw the money together into the insurance plan agency, and when the husband does die,
They had to have a subscription for this plan that they came up, or that Benjamin Franklin, our Silence Dogood, was talking about here.
AKA,
the women, before
AKA,
their husband died, they would pay like 50 or 20 euros like a month, and let's say her husband dies after 10 years, then whatever that amount that they had put into the subscription, then that is what the women would get back per month, like the total amount that they would get, per month. Which wasn't the 20 or the 50, just to be clear. It was like they put in 20 or 50, and let's say it accumulated to like 2,000 euros a year.
Then they'll evenly distribute it out.
Yeah, then that's what they would give out. If you gave up 2,000, euros a year, then you would get like, 400 or 500 back of it a month in order to upkeep the home.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, we're going to get into the newest Silence Dogood letters 11 through 13, and or maybe 14 in there as well.
Mm-hmm. And with that, I shall start reading. Number 11. That was written and sent out on August 20th, 1722.
Oh wow, tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow, precisely, 302 years?
298. 1722. It's 2023. No, 2024. So yeah, 302.
Oh, yeah.
302 years.
Maybe it's 302. I don't
302 years. So, Nicu lictium entria es mem Americam vice. That's the opening Latin. Amicum.
Neque licitium interior est meam amicum viser. I couldn't even pronounce that. I can't blame you.
Hey, I did the best I could, alright?
Yeah, you did.
But that's Latin. So, do you want to look it up? Because I did not.
Let's take a little tour.
I did not have time to look up that piece of Latin.
Okay, so how do you spell it?
Neque for the first word.
Neq. Wait.
Neque.
Que. Neque.
Licitum.
Lyceum.
Yeah, I was just saying.
Lycitium.
Lycitium.
Lycitium. Oops. Why is this so? Interia.
Because it's written in
Est mim. Miam. Amicum. Viscere. Right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Translate. Let's put down translate. There it is, Google Translate.
Yeah, but remember last time we clicked on it, we had to like copy paste it to put it in there.
Mm-hmm.
And it still won't give us what we want.
Well, you didn't click on it. You gotta click on. Yeah, there you go.
Nor is it lawful to visit my friend in the meantime. Huh? Okay then.
To the author.
To the author.
Who I can't visit in my meantime. Of the New England Courant, Sir, from a neutral compassion to my fellow creatures, I have sometimes been betrayed into tears at the sight of an object of charity, who by a bare sink relation of his circumstances seemed to demand the assistance of those about him. The following petition represents in so lively a manner the forlorn state of a virgin, well stricken in years and repentance, that I cannot forbear publishing it at this time, with some advice to the petitioner.
Petitioner.
Yeah, petitioner. Sorry, my speech. Like, I guess my lips don't want to, like, smack how I want to say it. It's not letting me say how I want to say it. To Miss...
Schmack.
Yeah, right.
My lips won't let me smack it the way I want to. Schmack. Smack, smack.
Anyway, to Miss...
Smack.
Cute. You're real cute. Remember, I got witnesses now. You insulted me
Oh,
first.
the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't touch you, though.
I don't know if anyone
I didn't
is.
touch you.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't touch you.
To Miss Silence Dogood.
Ooh.
Number 1. That your petitioner, being puffed up in her younger years with a numerous train of humble servants, had the vanity to think that her extraordinary wit and beauty would continually recommend her to the esteem of the gauntlets.
You mean vanity?
I said vanity.
No, you said vanity.
Vanity.
There's one T, not two.
Mm.
V-A-N-I-T-Y. Not V-N-I-T-I-T-T-Y.
Mm-hmm. Vanity.
Vanity.
Mm-hmm. And it's thundering outside. Lovely.
This guy's just mad because he wanted to mow the yard. It was either podcast or mow the yard. And, well, it's Monday, so we gotta get stuff out to y'all, so... And we slept in really late, which is why the podcast is really late today, but, hey.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's just boom, bada boom, 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 literally raining on his mowing parade that he was gonna have after the podcast.
That's what happens when you wake up at 11:30, y'all.
Yeah, I've been depressed lately.
No, we ain't going into that.
But we're not gonna go into why.
Had the vanity to think.
Vanity.
No. There's not two T's there, babe.
I said vanity. 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 Vanity.
Vanity?
Vanity. 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 Vanity.
That's what I said, though.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
Vanity. You said vanity. Vanity.
Had the vanity. Is that just how I said it?
Vanity?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's vanity. Vanity is actually a word. And it means something entirely different.
Mm-hmm.
That's why in English, you gotta be sure you say the right freaking word, because otherwise it's a whole different fucking meaning.
Language.
It's gonna get clipped anyway.
Mm-hmm. Now your petitioner, being puffed up in her younger years with a numerous train of humble servants, had the vanity to think that her extraordinary wit and beauty would continually recommend her to the esteem of the gallants. And therefore, as soon as it came to publicly known that any gentleman addressed her, he was immediately discarded. Number 2, the several of your petitioners, humble servants, who, upon their being rejected by her, were to all appearances in a dying condition, have since recovered their health and been several years married, to the great surprise and grief of your petitioner, who parted with them upon no other conditions, but that they should die or run distracted for her, as several of them faithfully promised to do so. Number 3, that your petitioner, finding herself disappointed in and neglected by her former adorers, and no new offerers appearing for some years past, she has been industriously contracting acquaintances with several families in town and country, where any young gentlemen or widowers have decided and endeavored to appear as conversatable as possible before them. She has likewise been a strict observer of the fashion and always appear well dressed, and the better to restore her decayed beauty, she has come above 50 pounds worth of the most approved cosmetics, but won't do. Your petitioner therefore must humbly prays that you would be pleased to form a project for the relief of all those petitioned morals of their fair sex, that are like to be punished with their virginity until old age for the pride and insolence of their youth. And your petitioner, as in duty bound, shall ever pray, etc. Margaret Aftercast. Where I endowed with the faculty of matchmaking should be improved for the benefits of Miss Margaret and others in her condition. But since my extreme modesty and taciturity, taciturnity forbids an attempt of this nature, I would advise them to relieve themselves in a method of friendly society, and that already published for widows I conceived would be a very proper proposal for them, whereby every single woman, upon full proof given of her coming of a virgin for the space of 18 years, dating her virginity from the age of 12, should be entitled to 500 euros in ready cash. But then it will be necessary to make the following exceptions: that no woman shall be admitted into the society after she is 25 years old, who has made a practice of entertaining and discarding humble servants without significant reasons for doing so, until she has manifested her repentance in writing under her hand. No member of the society who has declared before 2 credible witnesses that it is well known that she has refused several good officers since the time of her subscribing, shall be entitled to the 500 euros when she comes of age, and that is to say 30 years. Number 3. No woman who, after claiming and receiving, has had the good fortune to marry, shall entertain any company with economies on her husband above the space of
with economims.
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 Mm-hmm.
Economims.
Econiums.
Yeah, see, that's what.
Mm-hmm. Economiums. Yeah.
Yeah, see, why are you correcting me when I know I said it right?
Economims.
Economims.
Economiums.
Economims.
Ecomiums. Ecomiums. Ecomiums.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you spell it. That's how you pronounce that. Ecomiums.
Mm-hmm.
What? Okay. You know what? What the heck? What in the world is ecomium? Because we've seen these.
Probably.
Like, we've seen this word so many times, and I have never, ever heard of it before.
It probably means
A speech or a piece of writing that praises someone or something highly. So, I guess like a eulogy, maybe, in a way? Or something?
Mm.
I don't know.
Above the space of 1 hour at a time, upon pain of returning 1/2 the money into the office for the first offense, and upon the second offense to return the remainder. I am, sir, your humble servant, Silence Dogood.
Okay, so that one, it seems like this is a further thing into the insurance policies,
Mm-hmm.
maybe, for the life insurance, and so...
For younger women, I guess?
So, for the younger woman, they have to be a virgin, which I guess virgin means unmarried at the time?
Mm-hmm.
Because every time it refers to virgin, and then after, like, they have to remain a virgin, they cannot entertain, certain guests, they cannot, do this, because if they do, and they get married before the time of the,
subscription is up,
then they don't get any of the money.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Well, yeah, if your husband died, then, yeah, you should get the money. But there has to be, a time between, like, a grieving period, a proper grieving period, and then you'd get the money.
And this goes further.
But if you get married during that grieving period, then you don't get the money because you just found a new husband for your new income, and you're not going to get two forms of income.
And does that also...
And remember, back in those days, young girls got married at around 13 and 14 years old. So even at, 18 and 25, if they are considered, quote, virgins, which that just meant unmarried woman, not an untouched woman. It just meant married. Unmarried woman. Unmarried. Then they could be widows at that ages. Which is why they have to be, that for so long. I don't know. That one's kind of a little hard and screwy to understand. But these are just constitutional, or not constitutional, but these are the letters that are within our Congressional Library of the United States that are considered some important documents that we have, because right here is where all these letters, like we said at the very beginning of these letters that we started going through, these are the early fundamentals and ideals of our founding father at a very young age, Mr. Benjamin Franklin, at 16.
Now, September 10th, 1722, Silence Dogood letter, number 12. Quid is in corde, sabere is in orbe, ebe.
I love trying to pronounce these things. Quod est in cordi sobri est in or ebri.
Yeah, see, ebe.
Yo, that's exactly kind of how you said it. Alright, so let's take a little dip to the matrix.
Did you exit out of it? You did, didn't you?
No, I didn't. Oh, I did. Okay, well, there's no problem. We just hit the back button. That's what the back button's for. Okay, so that one is QUOD, and then it's est, right?
Yeah, that's N.
In cordi, like corduroy.
No, IN.
Is it IN?
Yes. Sobri. CSOBRII. Comma. SN or EST. IN.
And then it's
BRI.
What is in the heart of a sober man is in the mouth of a drunkard. Ooh, that's one of my favorite sayings to say. A drunk man's words is a sober man's truth. That's a phrase I often like to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes. I didn't, well, so, that phrase even goes all the way back to 1722. Like, good lord, I didn't know that phrase was so old, bro. Like, yo, that phrase is 300 years old.
To the author of the New England Courant, sir.
Sir.
It is no unprofitable, thou unpleasant pursuit, diligently to inspect and consider the manners and conversation of man, who, insatiable of the greatest enjoyment of human life, abandon themselves in vice from a false notion of pleasure and good fellowship. A true and nature representation of any enormity is often the best argument against it and means of removing it. When the most severe reprehensions alone are found ineffectual, I would, in this letter, improve the little observation I have made on the vice of drunkenness, the better to reclaim the good fellows who usually pay the devotions of the evening to Bacchus.
Wait a minute. I guess it took me until this letter to kind of get it, but the little things in Latin that she says right before we get into the rest of the letter, it seems to have to deal with what's in the letter.
Mm-hmm.
Because that last one, it was talking about how it is not lawful to see my friend in the meantime, and then it went into how with the life insurance policies, you can't see your boyfriend in your grieving period while you're trying to get that life insurance policy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, okay, I get it.
I doubt not, but moderate drinking has been improved for the diffusion of knowledge among the ingenious part of mankind, who want the talent of a ready utterness in order to discover the conceptions of their minds in an entertaining and intelligible manner. 'Tis true, drinking does not improve our faculties, but enables us to use them, and therefore I conclude that much study and experience, and a little liquor, are of absolute necessity of some tempers, in order to make them accomplished, or
That sounds like a friend of ours, doesn't it?
to make them accomplished orienters. Disc. Ponder discovers an excellent judgment when he inspires with a glass of 2 of claret, but he passes for a fool among those of small observation, who never saw him the better for drink. And here it will not be improper to observe that the moderate use of liquor in a well-placed and well-regulated anger often produces the same effect, and some who cannot ordinarily talk, but in broken sentences and false grammar, do in the heart of passions express themselves with a much eloquence as warmth. Hence is
with as much eloquence as warmth.
Hence it is that my own sex are generally the most eloquent, because the most passionate. It has been said in the praise of man, says an ingenious author, that they could talk whole hours together upon anything, but it must be owned to the honor of the other sex, that there are many among them who talk whole hours together upon nothing. I have known a woman branch out into a long extempore dissertation on the edging of a dissertation on the edging of a petticoat, and chide her servant for breaking a china cup, in all of the figures of rhetoric. But after all, it must be considered that no pleasure can give satisfaction or prove advantages to a reasonable mind, which is not attended with the restraints of reason. Enjoyment is not to be found by access in any sensual gratification, but on the contrary, the immoderate cravings of the voluptuary are always succeeded with loathing and appalled appetite. Appalled appetite. Appetite.
No, it's appetite.
Is that appetite? Okay.
Yeah, I was just trying to see what that word was before it.
It's appalled.
It's appalled.
It's appalled.
P-A-L-L-E-D.
Yeah, appalled. It's okay. All right.
These people are, the people with it, people used to write things back in the day. It's very odd. Like, it's like we can understand it. We can understand it for the most part.
Like, rhetoric is legitimately spelled how it sounds with a rick at the end of it. I don't think rhetoric actually has a rick in it.
No, they dropped the K.
That's what I thought.
It's still spelled the same, but it dropped the K. Just like with public, they put a
K
after the C in public, and politics, and magic, and everything else. There was an extra K, E, O, or I, or a U somewhere it didn't need to be.
They had to make sure they had the in it.
The Pow!
But anyway, after all, it must be considered that no pleasure can give satisfaction or prove adventurous to a reasonable mind. Okay. I went too far ahead. Missed me up there, babe. Sorry. An appalled appetite. What pleasures can the drunkard have in the reflection that, while in his cups, he retained only the shape of a man, and acted the part of a beast? Or that form reasonable disclosure a few minutes before he descended to impertinence and nonsense. I cannot pretend to account for the different effects of liquor on persons of different dispositions who are guilty of excess in the use of it. 'Tis strange to see men of a regular conversation become rakish and profane when intoxicated with drink, and yet more surprising to observe that some who appeared to be the most profligate wretches when sober become mighty religious in their cups, and will then and at no other times address their Maker, but when they destitute of reason and actually affronting him. Okay, I'm guessing that's just another word for confronting him.
Mm-hmm.
Some shrink in their wedding, and others swell in such an unusual bulk in their imaginations that they can, in an instant, understand all arts and sciences by the liberal education of a living, vivifying punch or a significant quantity of other exhilarating liquor.
So basically, this is saying that liquor makes people. It makes the angry people kind of balanced out. It makes some of the dim-witted able to understand the fine arts and sciences, and others where they have trouble speaking, they can
Speak a little better.
Speak better, and in such, explosions of passion that they never can in their, soberness. And then with others, it's like, when they're sober, they're not a religious person. They kind of have that in the closet. They hide that in their soberness, but in their drunkenness, all of a sudden they're a preacher. They're a preacher man. So wow, just kind of brings us back to probably the early ideas to start AA. Because even drunkenness was a problem in 1722. Oh, the alcoholism.
We're strong in this one.
Strong in this country.
And as the effects of liquor are various, so are the characters given to its devourers. It argues some shame in the drunkards themselves, in that they have invented numberless words and phrases to cover their folly.
And even this one is like, the ones that lack character, when they devour that liquor, they become all kinds of characters. And they do everything they can to hide their follies. Come up with entire worlds in their drunk minds to cover it up.
Whose proper significance are harmless or have no signification at all. They are seldom known to be drunk, though they are very often boozy, coggy, tipsy, fox, merry, mellow, fundle, gullible, grotable, confoundedly cut. See 2 moons, them are among the Philistines, in a very good humour to the sun, or the sun has shone upon them. They clip the king's English, are almost froze, feverish in their attitudes, pretty well entered, etc. In short, every day produce some new word or phrase which might be added to the vocabulary of the tipplers. But I have choose to mention these few because if at any time a man of sobriety and temperance happens to cut himself confoundedly or in almost froze or feverishly or accidentally sees the sun, etc., he may escape the imputation of being drunk when his misfortune becomes to be related. I am, sir, your humble servant, Silence Dogood.
Okay, so what did you gather from that last part? I'm a little confused. So I guess when they start seeing double, they start freaking out and denying the fact that they're drunk? Is that what I got?
We're going to use this saying from our present ownies. For what has been burdened can be undone.
No. You totally butchered the crap out of that.
Mm-hmm.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
That's what I got from that.
What can be unburdened by what has been when people are drunk.
That's pretty much what I got from that, though.
Well, I guess in the minds of a drunk person...
It can't be unburdened, but what has been undone.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
By me drinking this cup more.
By me drinking the liquor more. Just let me keep drinking. Fun fact, I'm 5% Irish.
Mm-hmm. And fun fact, this letter is precise.
And then I'm 39% Scottish.
Hey, we're September.
Oh, don't start doing all that.
Well, you're the one that started. You started it.
Hey, that was earlier this morning when I first woke up. When it's appropriate to do that.
No. I have it on camera that you yawned.
Fair enough.
In this podcast, so you started it.
Hit the relay button. The replay button. Let's see the replay.
Here's my flag. My challenge flag.
Gross.
Anyway, September 24th, 1722. Silence Dogood letter number 13. And we don't get a Latin quote for this one.
No?
Nope. To the author of the New England Courant. Sir, in persons of a contemplative disposition, the most indifferent things provoke the exercise of the imagination, and the satisfactions which often arise of them are thereby are a certain relief to the laborer of the mind when it has been intensely fixed on more substantial subjects, as well as to that of the body. In one of the late pleasant moonlight evenings, I so far indulged in myself the humor of the town in walking abroad, as to continue from my lodgings 2 or 3 hours later than usual, and was pleased beyond expectations before my return. Here I found various companies to observe, and various discourses to attend to. I met indeed with the common fate of listeners, who hear no good of themselves, but from a consciousness of my innocence received it with a satisfaction beyond what the love of flattery and the doublings of a parasite could produce. The company who rallied me were about 20 in number, of both sexes, and though the confusion of tongues, like that of Babel, which always happens among so many impudent talkers, render their discourse not so intelligible as I could wish, I learnt thus much, that one of the females pretended to know me from some discourse she had heard at a certain house, before the publication of one of my letters, adding that I was a person of an ill character, and kept a criminal correspondence with a gentleman who assisted me in writing. One of the gallants cleared me of this random charge, by saying that though I wrote in the character of a woman, he knew me to be a man.
Okay, so is this a letter where Ben is ranting and raving the fact he got caught?
The jig's up! Miss Talent's still good. The jig's up, Ben.
The jig's up, Ben. You have been had, Silence Dogood. Been had, yeah.
But continued, he has more need of endeavoring a reformation in himself, than spreading his wits and satirizing others. Satirizing others. I had no reason left this set of rambles, but I met a crowd of tarpaulins and their doxies, linked to each other by the arms, who ran by their own account, after the rate of 6 knots an hour, and bent their course towards the common. Their eager and amorous emotions of body, occasioned by taking their mistresses in tow, they called wild steerage, and steerage. And as a pair of them happened to trip and come to the ground, the company were called upon to bring to, for that Jack and Betty were founded. But this fleet were not less commercial or irregular in their progress than a company of females. I soon after came up with who by throwing their heads to the right and left at everyone who passed by them, I concluded came out with no other design than to revive the spirit of love and disappointment and disappointed bachelors, and expose themselves to sell to the first bidder. But it would take up too much room in your paper to mention all the occasions of diversion I met in with this nice ramble. As it grew later, I observed that many pedants' use and downlooks in a slow pace would be ever now and then crying out on the cruelty of their mistresses. Others, with a more rapid pace and cheerful air, would be swinging their canes and clapping their cheeks, whispering at certain intervals, "I'm certain I shall have her. This is more than I expected. More charmingly she talks," etc.
Clapping their cheeks. I wonder what that meant back in the day. Like, were they clapping these cheeks? Were they doing this? Or were they playing booty bongos? Booty bongo, booty bongo, booty bongo, bo.
Probably talking their cheeks off. Talking.
Oh. Nom 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 nom.
Get your mind out the gutter.
Slapping cheeks.
Kids watch this, you know.
And this is funny. And booty bongos.
Upon the whole, I concluded that our night walkers are a set of people who contribute very much to the health and satisfaction of those who have been fatigued with business or study, and occasionally observe their pretty gestures and impertinence. But among men of business, the shoemakers and other dealers in leather are doubtfully obliged to them, inasmuch as they exceedingly promote the consumption of their ware. And I have heard of a shoemaker who, being asked by a noted rambler whether he could tell how long her shoes would last, very prettily answered that he knew how many days she might wear them, but how many nights, because they were then put to a more violent and irregular service than she employed herself in the common affairs of the house. I am, sir, your humble servant, Silence Dogood.
Ooh, so was that a little bit of Benjamin Franklin saying that one of the peoples that called him out being a liar?
Is a hoe. That's right. She's a hoe.
She a hoe.
She a hoe. You don't know nothing. You're a hoe. I'm a little old.
I got caught red-handed, but you a hoe.
I'm just a little old lady, but you're a hoe. I'm a little old man that's dressed up as a lady. Well, I'm a young man dressed up as an old lady. All right, and you're a hoe. I'm Robbie Dower Jr. dressed as a dude, looking like a dude, sounding like another dude.
I'm a dude playing a dude dressed as another dude. I'm a dude playing a dude dressed as another dude.
Alright, well, I'll say that's about,
Let's see, how long is number 14?
2 page, this, and then these.
No, that's not too long.
Okay, well, I think King said, let's read another book. Read the last letter.
Read the last letter. Yeah, let's go ahead and wrap up the Silence Dogood letters.
I hear you, Hacklefish.
Yahtzee! That's my favorite phrase that he says. Yahtzee! From the Y-Files. Hecklefish from the Y-Files. I love it.
Alright. October 8th, September 22nd. Silence Dogood letter number 14, the last letter. Now let's see. No, let's look it up.
Let's just look it up. Just tell me how to spell it.
Well, so I am not wasting my breath on this anymore. Y'all have fun with me slaughtering regular words. You ain't getting satisfied with me slaughtering Latin words.
Okay, so.
Arum.
Wait, E-A-R-U-M.
Mm-hmm. C-A-U-S-A-R-U-M. S-A-R-U-M.
My bad.
Mm-hmm. Quantum. It's Q-U-A-E-Q-U-E.
Q-U-A-E-A-E?
And then Q-U-E.
Oh, quay.
Quay.
Quay, maybe? Quay? Do English.
English.
Let us see how much of these causes is worth.
Okay.
Ooh. So something about causes.
And worth.
Maybe like activism of some sort.
Well, we're about to find out.
Or some kind of like causation of freedom.
We're gonna find out.
Maybe the foundations of stuff that, rallied the troops back in the
We're
day.
gonna find
50-something
out.
years later. We're gonna find out today.
To the author of the New England Courant. Sir, it often happens that the most zealous advocates for any cause find themselves disappointed in the first appearance of success. In the propagation of their opinion, and the disappointment appears unavoidable when they say parasites too suddenly start into extremes, and are immediately filled with arguments to invalidate their former practice. This creates a suspicion.
Suspicion.
That's right.
Suspicion.
This creates a Suspicion.
Not suspension.
Suspicion.
We're not bouncing here.
Hey.
We don't need all that suspension. We need suspicion.
This calls it.
It's sus.
This
susness.
This creates a suspension. This creates a suspicion that in the more considerate part of mankind, that those who are thus given to change neither fear God nor honor the king. In matters of religion, he that alters his opinion on a religious account must certainly go through much reading, hear many arguments on both sides, and undergo many struggles in his conscience, before he can come to a full resolution. Secular interest will indeed make quick work with an immoral man, especially if, notwithstanding the alternation of his opinion, he can, with any appearance of credit, retain his morality. But by this turn of thought, I would not be suspected of uncharitableness to those clergymen at Connecticut who have lately embraced the established religion of our nation, some of whom I hear made their professions with a seriousness becoming their order. However, since they have denied the validity of ordination by the hands of presbyters, and consequently their power of administrating the sacraments, etc., we may just expect a suitable manifestation of their repentance for invading the priest's office and living so long in a Korah-like rebellion. Well, I would endeavor to shew that indiscreet zeal for spreading an opinion hurts the cause of the zealot. There are too many blind zealots among every denotion of Christians, and he that propagates the gospel among rakes and heroes without informing them in their morals is very wit as ridiculous and impolitic.
There's where they put a K at the end of.
Impolitic as a statesman who makes tools of idiots and talebearers. Much to my present purpose are the words of two ingenious authors of the Church of England, though in all probability they were tainted with Whiggish principles, and with these I shall conclude this letter.
Whiggish
principles, and with these I shall conclude this letter. I would, says one, have every zealous man examine his heart thoroughly, and I believe he will often find that what he calls a zeal for his religion is either pride, interest, or ill nature. A man who differs from another in opinion set himself above him in his own judgment, and in several particulars pretends to be the wiser person. This is a great provocation to the proud man, and gives a keen edge to what he calls his zeal. And this is the case very often we may observe from the behavior of some of the most zealous for orthodoxy who have often great friendships and intimacies with various vicious immoral men.
With vicious
immoral men, provided they do but agree with them in the same scheme of belief. The reason is because the vigorous believer gives the vicious believers gives the precedency to the virtuous men and allows the good Christian to be the worthier person at the same time that he cannot come up to his perfections. This we find exemplified in the trait passage which we see quoted in almost every system of ethics, though upon another occasion.
And then we're not gonna try to pronounce that. We're just gonna put
the first one's easy. It's video.
Video.
First
like
one.
Spelled like video?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Then melior. Meliore. Procure. Proboque. I see better and better.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's all it says?
Mm-hmm. Dilator secure.
And then Dieter, Oria, Secor. I see the better and the worse I follow.
On the contrary, it is certain if our zeal were true and genuine, we should be much more angry with a sinner than a heretic, since there are several cases which may excuse the latter before his great judge, but none which can excuse the former. I have, says another, found by experience that it is impossible to talk distinctly without defining the words of which we make use. There is not a term in our language which wants explanation to so much as the word church. One would think when people utter it, they should have in their minds ideas of virtue and religion, but that important monosyllable drags all.
Let me see.
Monosyllable,
yeah.
Monosyllable drags all the other words in the language after it, and is made use of to express both praise and blame, according to the character of him who speaks it. By this means it happens that no one knows that what his neighbor means when he says such a one is for or against the church. It has happened that he who is seen every day at church has not been counted in the eye of the world a churchman, and he who is very zealous to oblige everyone to frequent it, but himself has been a very good son of the church. The prepossession is the best handle imaginable for politicians to make use of for managing the love and hatreds of mankind, to the purpose to which they would lead them. But this is not a thing for fools to meddle with, for they only bring disesteem upon those whom they attempt to serve, when they unskillfully pronounce terms of art. I have observed great evils arise from this practice, and not only the cause of piety, but also the secular interest of clergymen has extremely suffered by the general unexplained significance of the word church. I am, sir, your humble servant, Silence Dogood.
And that is it for the Silence Dogood letters. Woo!
Mm-hmm.
And next Monday, we will be going over an edict by the King of Prussia. So that is Russia before it was Russia.
Russia.
Or Prussia. Prussia might be a other.
Well, let's see.
What is Prussia?
Here's what it says in the subheading. Although written in the style of a royal proclamation, this edit by Benjamin Franklin.
Oh, another one by our Benji boy.
is really a satire, and
which Franklin claimed that England belonged to Prussia.
he goes on to list restrictions imposed on the British by the
Prussian monarchy.
In this way, Franklin used the fictional relationship to comment on the imposition of British rule on the American colonies. So he tried to start a controversy. So not only is he the original prankster, he is an original feminist. He is one of the original, people that started the public forum within the first newspaper that his brother developed. So, and now he's doing a first conspiracy theory in America? What? Not first conspiracy theory.
It is based on a satirical piece.
No, I'm about to say it's not conspiracy theory, it's just a satire.
Yeah, it's satire, but at the time, you would have to probably think, at the time, it was a conspiracy. Like, all of a sudden, the people in the New World, as they are being controlled by England, let somebody F around and find out about, oh, apparently England doesn't even own us. Prussia does, because Prussia owns England. Like, what?
Don't know. But was
Like England can't tell us what to do. They owned by Prussia. Prussia tells us what to do. Or at least that's how I'm assuming that's gonna go.
Maybe. But with that, y'all.
Remember to live life with eyes wide open
and to like and subscribe.
And leave your comments down below. And if you want a copy of the Constitution, I found a copy of it online. And as always, link in the description below. We'll see you guys on the next one. See ya.